Hello, brothers and sisters. I hope you're having a wonderful and blessed day today. My name is Joelle for those who are new, and in today's video, I want to talk about Christian modesty and the way I've come to understand modesty. To be honest, this is an updated version of what I think about modesty because I've had videos in the past about modesty, but I think that they fail to really hit the nail on the head because they were too focused on the outward appearance of modesty and not enough on the heart of modesty, even though I touched upon it. A couple years ago, I actually sat down to make this very video, but I failed. I failed at making this video, and I think it's because I did not have the experience to understand what truly is the heart of modesty. I was in an area of my life where God was teaching me modesty, but I still was just a baby and didn't understand it to the fullest. None of my videos are scripted. I don't sit there and write down what I'm going to say. I don't have any notes to go off of. I sit down and I talk from my heart. And so when I sat down to make that video, I tried to speak from my heart and nothing was really coming out. It wasn't coming out properly. It wasn't coming out like I understood what I was talking about. And so I just made videos about what I did understand and from the perspective of where I was on my journey in modesty. Now fast forward a couple years and a lot has happened. When I first became a Christian, God called me out of a past of being immodest. And I don't mean immodest as if I was like flaunting my body everywhere and everything like that. No, I mean more of an inward immodesty. When I first became a Christian, I read my Bible from front to back, and everything that I seen in there, I was doing. When I got to the part where it talks about head covering, I said, I need to do that. And I had a really strong conviction to cover my head, and so I did. For a year, I covered my head all the time. I covered my head whenever I went out in public, whenever I went to church, whenever I prayed at home, my head was covered. This caused a lot of friction between me and my husband. The first thing that I learned from covering my head was actually to be more feminine, to be more submissive. God was breaking down walls that I have built for so long. Being a very stubborn, strong-willed woman that I was, He was softening my heart. There was a time in my life when being a strong, stubborn woman benefited me, a girl, I should say, benefited me because I needed that kind of mentality to survive in a cutthroat world that I was living in when I was younger. But as I grew and now I'm married with children, that mindset no longer serves me and it does not serve my family. And God knew that I needed to be softened. And so He did so with a piece of cloth on my head. He showed me what it meant to be more feminine, to be more submissive, to be more soft and more gentle. And this really helped my marriage, but at the same time caused friction because my husband did not like me covering my head in public. Although he was very supportive, he never said that I couldn't do it. He always said yes to it. I could right now, if I wanted, go to him and say, I want to cover my head full time, and he would 100% support me. But because I know that he does not like it, I would be doing a disservice to him, and I would be basically covering my head in vain. The whole point of covering your head is to be submissive. The whole point of covering your head is for modesty. And if you're going against your husband because you want to cover your head, is it for you or is it to be submissive and is it to be modest? Maybe it can definitely have its benefits, but at the same time, I believe it would be doing a disservice to my husband if I went against his wishes when I know very well what it is he prefers. So I have not been covering my head full time. Only in church and only during prayer do I cover my head. And still, God was still able to teach me what He needed to teach me during the time that I did cover my head. And I'm so grateful for all that He taught me. You know, what I've come to learn about modesty is that it's not an outward expression. It is an inward expression. It is your heart. It is the way you are towards every event and circumstance in your life. You know, when you become a Christian and you are working with God inside of you to develop Christian values, Modesty is simply a side effect, a thing that happens. It's a fruit, I should say. It is a fruit that grows from working with the Holy Spirit inside of you as you get closer to God. Modesty is something that naturally occurs. It naturally happens. It is a gift. It is a gift. I've noticed that for myself, especially. I can only speak from my experience. I can't speak for everybody else, but what I can say is that I did not teach myself modesty. Modesty was given to me as a gift from God to show me how He wants me to be, through my prayers of asking Him to help me be the woman that He wants me to be for Him, for my husband, and for my children, and for my community and those around me. I really want to be all that God wants me to be. And one thing that He wanted for me is to be modest, but not just modest outwardly. He wants me to be modest in my heart. He wants me to be kind. He wants me to be gentle. He wants me to be, if somebody wrongs me, He wants me to turn the other cheek. If somebody's judging me, He wants me to just pray for them. These are signs of modesty of your heart. When you are able to act in a certain way towards everything in your life. It's your heart. It's the way your heart is, wherever your heart is pointing towards in this life shows if you're living a modest life or not. I think we can get so caught up in the outward appearance of modesty, of covering our head and our bodies. Those are very good things, I will not lie. Those are amazing things, and they can teach you a lot about modesty and being feminine and soft. But that's not the goal. The goal doesn't end at just the physical act of modesty. It is your heart. It is your heart. I know that I still have a long ways to go. And the reason that I know I have a long ways to go is because every time I go to confession, I see where I am not modest. I see the parts of me, and I don't mean modest as in like I'm thinking about other men or like doing gross things like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the times when I am not giving grace to certain things in my life. I'm like, wow, that's not very modest of me. That's not very modest of me. Like, I'm still on the journey of modesty, and I'm not sure if that will ever end. That might be just something that I carry with me through my whole life. But to be modest in all areas of life, when it comes to appearance, when it comes to your love, when it comes to your heart, your generosity shouldn't be modest. If you're modest in your generosity, maybe something's wrong. But being modest in the sense of your humility, of your kindness, of your gentleness and your softness, is just being moderate with your inner state, where you're just humble, I guess is the word. It's humility. I actually think that almost everything points back to humility. When you really get down to the nitty-gritty stuff about all of the things that we're doing as Christians, it really comes down to humility. So the more I walk this life with Christ, the more I understand what modesty truly means and how it affects your whole life. But we don't need to beat ourselves up. We don't need to, be hard on ourselves if, we're having struggles and we're on the journey, because like I said, I believe modesty is a gift. It was a gift to me. It's nothing that I could do. There's absolutely nothing that I could do to produce modesty. Even wearing a cloth on my head was not me doing something to produce modesty in myself. I was doing it as an act of obedience. Yes, that was an act of obedience, but God was the one that produced modesty in me through it, by teaching my heart what it means to be modest through wearing that on my head, because God sees our heart. Our heart is what matters in all things, and there's very little we can do to affect our heart. God is the one who's changing it. He's the one who's molding it. He's the one doing it all. And so modesty is a gift. It is a fruit. It's something that's growing within you, but God is doing it. And so here I am making this video, my second attempt at making this kind of video 2 years later, and I hope that I was able to get the message across. I am not sure. I'm not 100% sure I made 100% sense. I don't know. The comment section, I'm sure, will let me know. Will let me know, and that is absolutely fine. I don't mind the constructive criticism. I don't mind when people disagree with me. None of those things really bother me, you know. But at the end of the day, all I know is what is my experience and what God is doing in my life and what I've seen and what I've come to understand. And the other thing that I know is that I love all of you. I love you all. I love everybody. I love everybody. I really do. And I'm just so grateful to be a Christian. I'm so grateful that God teaches me what He teaches me. I'm so grateful that we have a community that also loves God, you know, and it's just amazing what God is doing all the time. He's so amazing. So I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed day, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye for now.